Working more hours should make you richer. But in America, for millions of people, working harder is doing the opposite. Every extra shift, every overtime hour, every promotion is quietly pushing them closer to financial collapse. This is the American Paycheck Trap. Once you're inside it, escaping becomes almost impossible. Most Americans grow up believing a simple rule. If you work hard, show up on time, and climb the ladder, money problems will eventually disappear. That belief used to be true, but today, it's dangerously outdated. Because in modern America, income has become a moving target. While expenses are locked in and rising faster than wages can keep up, the result is a system where effort no longer guarantees progress, and where more work often creates more financial pressure instead of relief. Let's start with a story that perfectly explains the paycheck trap. Imagine a middle-class worker earning $55,000 a year. They're struggling but surviving. Rent is high, groceries are expensive, and insurance premiums keep rising. This isn't accidental. The American system is designed with invisible cliff income thresholds where benefits disappear faster than wages rise. Economists call this the benefits cliff, but for working families, it feels more like falling off a financial ledge. You work harder, earn more, and end up worse off than before. And because this process happens gradually, most people don't realize what's happening until they're already stuck. Now let's talk about overtime, the symbol of hustle culture. Americans work more hours than almost any developed country in the world. Overtime is sold as a solution. Need more money? Just work more. But over time, income is taxed at higher rates, often pushing workers into new brackets without providing meaningful long-term relief. Meanwhile, overtime increases burnout, health problems, and stress-related illness, leading to higher medical costs, missed workdays, and emotional exhaustion. In other words, overtime doesn't just fail to solve the problem, it creates new ones. Then there's inflation, the silent thief that turns pay raises into illusions. Over the past decade, wages have risen slowly, while housing, healthcare, insurance, and food costs have surged. A 5% raise sounds good, till rent goes up 12%, groceries rise 15%, and insurance premiums jump 20%. The paycheck grows, but purchasing power shrinks. You're running faster just to stay in the same place. And many Americans are falling behind despite doing everything they were told to do. Healthcare is one of the most brutal parts of the paycheck trap. Many Americans are locked into jobs they hate, not because they love the work, but because they can't afford to lose health insurance. This is called job lock, and it's one of the biggest hidden forces keeping people stuck. When you earn more, your employer-sponsored healthcare often becomes more expensive. Premiums rise, deductibles increase, and out-of-pocket costs grow. So even as your income increases, your medical risk increases with it. Now add debt to the equation. Credit cards, student loans, car payments, and buy no pay later plans have become survival tools for the working class. Debt fills the gap between stagnant wages and rising costs. But debt doesn't care how hard you work. Interest compounds regardless of effort. Many Americans aren't working to build wealth, they're working to service debt. Every paycheck is already spoken for before it arrives. Here's where the trap tightens even further. As income rises, lifestyle expectations rise to not because people become greedy, but because stability requires it. A higher-paying job often comes with longer commutes, better clothing requirements, higher childcare costs, and increased social expectations. You're not upgrading for luxury. You're upgrading to survive the job itself. And once those costs are locked in, stepping back becomes impossible. Another overlooked factor is time poverty. When Americans work longer hours, they lose time, the one resource that could help them escape the trap. Time to learn new skills, time to manage finances, time to cook healthier food instead of relying on expensive convenience options, time to rest and avoid burnout-related illness. Working more steals the very thing people need to break free. And then there's the psychological toll. The paycheck trap creates constant anxiety. You're always one missed paycheck away from disaster. One car repair. One medical bill. One family emergency. This fear forces people to accept bad conditions, toxic workplaces, and unfair pay because the cost of risk feels too high. The system doesn't just trap money, it traps behavior. Meanwhile, productivity in America has skyrocketed, Workers produce more value than ever before, but wages haven't followed. The extra value flows upward to corporations, shareholders, and executives while workers are told to hustle harder. This disconnect creates a cruel paradox. The harder Americans work, the clearer it becomes that effort alone isn't enough anymore. The paycheck trap also explains why so many Americans feel broke even at six-figure incomes. Once taxes, housing, insurance, childcare, and debt are paid, what remains often feels shockingly small. The number looks impressive, but the margin for error is razor-thin. High income doesn't equal financial security anymore, it just means higher stakes. Because many developed nations cap healthcare costs, provide stronger safety nets, and reduce the penalty for earning more. In the U.S., survival is privatized. Risk is individualized, and every additional dollar earned pushes responsibility further onto the worker. The paycheck trap isn't about laziness. It's not about bad choices. It's about a system where income growth is punished instead of rewarded, where safety nets disappear before stability is achieved, where effort is extracted without protection. And here's the most dangerous part. Most people don't realize they re-trapped until they re-exhausted, burned out, and financially fragile. They think the solution is to work even more, falling deeper into the cycle. The truth is uncomfortable, but necessary. The American paycheck trap exists because it's profitable. It keeps workers dependent, compliant, and constantly striving without ever arriving. It turns survival into a full-time job. Until income actually translates into security, until working more creates breathing room instead of pressure millions. With that bat that with that brain break and buff common was ad bra we had died winner san wick rebez the read for when so we went up to women to wow from a war had I'm what it was so and was for what women us we was. And that's the real reason working more makes you poorer in America.